Top of the morning. Premier Boxing Champions just stepped up their promotion. We are probably 33 or 34 days out, and Errol Spence and Terence Crawford raid each other. Right after this intro, let's get it. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the boxing guys, the entities that made this fight happen, whether it was the promotional companies, whether it was the management team by both fighters, or whether it was by us, the fans. Appreciate us staying vigilant and making sure that this fight would take place. And Terence Crawford most definitely making this fight take place and making sure these both boxers get their well-doing. Now on to the rating each other. Terence Crawford was being very optimistic and actually honest on how he rated Errol Spence. Errol Spence, on the other hand, he kind of exaggerated, played little games like a kid, like he doesn't respect Terence Crawford in this interview that they had on Premier Champions Boxing. And yeah, the footwork, Crawford gave Errol like a 6 on his footwork, which was honest. Spence, on the other hand, he gave Crawford a 7 on his footwork, which is very misleading because we all know Terence Crawford's a switch hitter. He knows how to use the entire ring. He doesn't get hit flush a lot, things like that. Defense, he gave Crawford a 3.5. Wow. But Errol Spence is the one who's visibly lumped up most fights. He gave Crawford gave Spence a 6, which is kind of honest, really. You know, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at here? Power. Crawford didn't really rate Spence on his power, but he did give him a 7 because he said he hasn't felt Spence's power. And Spence gave Crawford a 6. So you see what I'm saying here on power? But Crawford's knocked out every person he's fought in like the last 10 or 11 fights. Speed. Spence may have been a little honest on this. He gave Crawford a 6.5 on speed. And of course, Crawford gave Spence a 5, which I think is fair. Spence is probably like around a 5 on speed. You know, you can kind of see his punches coming if you know boxing. Punch resistance. Crawford gave Spence a 7 on his punch resistance, which is decent because we know that Spence doesn't really fall down when he get hit. Even though he get lumped up, he doesn't fall down. Spence, on the other hand, he gave Crawford a 4. You see what I'm saying? Like, Spence is really just kind of being naive, you know, on Crawford's punch resistance. Conditioning. And then you have conditioning. Spence was very honest. Crawford was very honest. He gave Spence on his conditioning a 9. That's exceptionally not underestimating Errol Spence on his conditioning. On the other hand, Spence gave Crawford a 7.5 on his conditioning. But we've all seen Crawford get stronger later in fights. And then you have ring IQ. Crawford gave Errol Spence a 9. So that's kind of being honest. You know, even though Spence get hit a lot, you know, I think he was basically giving Spence way too much credit on his ring IQ. Because he visibly lost his mouthpiece. He wasn't aware of what was going on in the ring. Stuff like that. And Spence gave Crawford an 8 on his ring IQ, that's probably one of his better answers right there. In the resume, Spence gave Crawford a 0.5. Can you believe that shit? And he laughed about it. So if he loses this fight, he's gonna look like the biggest chump or the biggest guppy ever. Crawford, on the other hand, gave Spence a 7 on his resume. because he feels like they've had equal fighters. So there you have it. Shout out to Premier Boxing Champions on getting these two brothers to talk about, how they felt about one another. Modern King Boxing 1. I'm a wolf.